Cubs have made some really big moves this offseason, and they have moved one star out. They got another star in. They got a catcher. Maybe they've added some pitching, but not the pitching that they need to be a World Series contender, but maybe shoring up things in the bullpen. Maybe there's some moves left in the rotation. But what about a trade of Seiya Suzuki to the Dodgers? Would that happen? Would the World Series champs want to make a deal with the Cubs? We're going to get into that. And Bo Bichette, would they really trade Toronto for Bichette? Could that happen? Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Let's get the show started. Great to see all of you guys. And like I said, man, my promise to you is to be here with you through the holidays. Everybody's taking off. No, not here on the Cubs Baseball channel. New content daily. Go Cubs. Peace, everybody. Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. Thank you for being here. And again, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. I hope you're having a fantastic holiday season, and I appreciate you guys being here with me today for the show. All right, a lot of stuff going on in the hot stove league, the rumor mill. That includes some deals that the Cubs could potentially make. And I want to start with this deal that was kind of put out there. I don't know how credible this is or isn't, but last year there were some talks that maybe the Cubs would go after Blue Jays star Bo Bichette. And, could that be someone that would fit the system? He dealt with a lot of injuries last year for the Blue Jays. 2 years ago, though, he was a really good player. His dad, Dante, was a great player. He's a shortstop. I'm guessing you move him to third. If he comes to the Cubs, that takes an opportunity away from Matt Shaw, unless you make a Nico Horner trade. Maybe Nico's involved in this deal. I don't know enough about the Blue Jays to sit here and tell you what I think or they could or might not do. But I can tell you this right now. The Cubs have a ton of players in the outfield. And if the Toronto Blue Jays make a deal with the Cubs, I can't imagine it not including Owen Casey. He's one of the best players to come out of Canada. I think that he's better than Matt Shaw, even though Shaw's rated higher than him in the prospect guides. I like Casey. Shaw's power in the minor leagues has been a little more consistent. I think that Casey will eventually have more power than Shaw, but I think they're two really good players, and that's not a shot on any of those guys. Casey's just a bigger guy, and I love the way that he barrels the ball up, and it's just a lot easier for him, to me, watching him make contact and drive the ball than it is Shaw, because he's a bigger guy. And, he's got it. I think he's just got more natural size. But the Blue Jays would certainly love to have that home country guy, get their fans excited. You look at Casey and he really feels like he's going to be a fixture for a team in right field for years. This year, the Cubs are going to have Kyle Tucker playing right field, and they also have Seiya Suzuki. So what do you do with Casey? And Bichette has, been dealing with injuries. The name just keeps popping up with the Cubs. And so, we'll see what happens. The Cubs have some money now that they traded Cody Bellinger to the Yankees. That was, I say trade, but it felt more like a sale. And you look at what Bo was able to do in 2023. The guy had 20 home runs and 73 runs batted in, and he hit 306 in 135 games. Plus, he can play shortstop, right? The problem is, and maybe this is why the Cubs could maybe make a deal with Toronto for him, is that last year he only played in 81 games. And he had a bunch of injuries, and he only hit 4 home runs. And he only knocked in 31, and he only hit 225. So, maybe his stock is a little bit lower than what it would be this year. One of the things that we noticed with Theo Epstein is that the Cubs were always looking for kind of the high ceiling guys that you buy low and then you get a whole lot out of them. This would certainly fit into that. Bichette's a star in the making. And so, or maybe he already is one. But 26 years old, guy still has a lot of baseball life under him. And at one point, I mean, he was one of the top prospects in baseball. So who knows? But if I'm Jed Hoyer, and this is what I keep saying about this season for Hoyer, is that you're trying to save your career as the main guy. It's like you've been a great backup. You've been a great second guy, but when it's been you as the number one guy, things haven't gone well, And so this is the season that you have to try to put it all on the table. It's like a free agent season for a player. And so we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if they could pull this off if they didn't pull the trigger. Although if you're giving up Owen Casey, you're taking a big risk because the guy is, I think, a really, really good player. This one really shocked me, man. And when I saw this, guys, I was like, okay, wow, wouldn't that be something? And that was when Ken Rosenthal, the Athletic, one of the most accredited baseball journalists out there, said that basically the World Series champion Dodgers are exploring a number of intriguing right-handed hitting alternatives. And one of the names that was in there was a deal for Seiya Suzuki with the Cubs. He listed other guys, Luis Robert Jr., probably be a lot easier for them to pull off, just because you wouldn't be sending something back to a team that could potentially challenge you in the postseason. But I don't know that they're looking at the Cubs right now and going, oh, well, we're worried about the Cubs. Like we got to worry about the Cubs. I just don't think the Cubs are in a situation right now where you want prospects back. You're going to want major league players. You need, if you're the Cubs and you get rid of Suzuki, you've got to get somebody back that can contribute by driving in runs and that can hit and that can play the field. I mean, you need another starter back. And basically, the only reason that the Cubs are going to move Suzuki is that they don't have a spot for him besides DH. And, he's kind of made it clear that he's not a big fan of being a DH. He wants to play the field. And in Japan, he was a good outfielder. He was a guy that was a Gold Glove type outfielder there. But in America, in the major leagues, he hasn't been great in the outfield. As a matter of fact, he's been, he's been okay. Like he's made some mistakes. He hasn't been consistent. And, it's one of those deals with the Cubs where, they're looking at it and going, we just don't have a spot for him. He's got a no trade clause, but I mean, do you think he wouldn't mind going and playing with Yamamoto and playing with Ohtani, being from Japan? The other thing is that the Cubs are trying to get Roki Sasaki. He's from Japan. I don't know that it would help or hurt. One of the things I remember when they brought in Shota is he said that him and Seiya hadn't even talked before the deal was made to bring him in, So, I don't know that those relationships are going to be helpful, not helpful, kind of how that's all going to pan out, other than to tell you this. Is that Seiya Suzuki could be traded. And what you're seeing is that the Cubs are definitely thinking about moving him, and it's because it just makes sense. Although, if you're going to win, as much as he might not want to be a DH, the Cubs certainly are a better team when they have his bat in the lineup. And so, if he stays, I think that would be better for the Cubs. I'm sure he'll play some outfield, but you guys know, I mean, he's just too inconsistent out there on a day-to-day basis. So anyway, those are the two things I wanted to get into today as we get closer to Christmas coming up this week. Yeah, I got the green bear on for all of you guys. Got to have your sweaters, your Christmas sweater. I got a couple more I'll sport on the shows. But again, thanks for hanging out. Like and subscribe. Again, thumbs up if you like the video. Somebody gives me a thumbs down every day, but I don't even care. And as long as you're here hanging out, that's what it's all about. Seeing if we can get this team over the hump. And then the last thing I wanted to say, and this really comes from the bottom of my heart, is that I read the comments, and you guys are the best, man. I love what you have to say. It really makes me feel good, to get on here and talk to you guys and do the show. And then to hear you guys say, hey, how much you enjoy it, how much you like talking Cubs baseball. You start your morning with us every day. And we might not always agree on stuff. I know that the Sammy Sosa thing, some of you guys are clearly not a fan of the way that Sammy left and the steroids and all that stuff. But you know what? The best thing is, it's like a bunch of us sitting at the bar watching Harry and Steve talking Cubs baseball. That's all I ever wanted this channel to be. So you guys make it that way. So thank you. And we'll do it again tomorrow. I'm going to try to get through the holidays with a new show for you every single day, because that's my gift to you. So your gift to me, thumbs up, like, subscribe, share with your Cubs friends, and let's hope that the Cubs can pull off maybe a deal for an ace pitcher. We'll see what happens. Thank you, guys. Go Cubs.